Carrie Scoggins Political Newsletter, Bible Prophecy Times Edition Update. Through a process of gradualism, the United States went from a Christian nation to that of a nation of whose president openly says, quote, "We all worship the same God anyway. We just call him by different names." How did the United States go from being a Christian nation to a nation that has succumbed to the New Age movement, this all paths lead to God false doctrine of lies, and the Antichrist beast system religion? It's not all paths lead to God. Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes unto the Father except through me." The de-Christianizing of America came in through gradualism, gradually bringing more and more aspects of pagan or non-Christian religions into the country, doing so in such a mild manner that many never noticed they were already being integrated and introduced into non-Christian religions. Many see aromatherapy as something that has nothing to do with religion. They start out burning candles to change their emotions. Soon the books tell them they can begin to change their circumstances through burning candles. Burning white candles to bring anew. Burning red candles to bring love into your home. They are being introduced into Wicca or witchcraft, spell casting. They are being blindly led, gradually, through seemingly harmless or minor actions. Consider yoga, the first step in transcendental meditation, the 8th step being astral projection, focusing in on one's chakras, being part of Hinduism. Many see this as just exercising, because they're not being told about the religious aspect. They're not being told what the movements stand for and what the motions mean, and the prayers to the goddess and pagan god in Hinduism that stream from yoga. Again, gradualism, seemingly mild, harmless actions on the surface. Later, they're taken on into the religion, and since it's done so gradually, they are desensitized to these actions. Some people are being brought into the New Age movement gradually through therapeutic touch. They are not being told that therapeutic touch is the beginnings of Reiki. It doesn't take a Reiki master to understand the flow of energy and the teachings around therapeutic touch being that of the Reiki master. Again, people are being brought into the New Age movement through gradualism, gradually desensitized to non-Christian religious faiths, just as America was desensitized to psychic readings, psychic healings, by having psychics come on to TV shows. Gradualism, gradually bringing in the New Age movement and non-Christian religions. Many do not seem to understand exactly what the God of the Jews meant when he said, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord," that he is a jealous God, and to have no other gods before him. How seriously the God of the Jews takes it when you bring other aspects of other religions into your faith. You begin practicing other religious tenets. We see in Romans chapter 1, that's the first step in being given over to a reprobate mind. For those who already knew God, quote, they knew who God was and refused to serve him as God, then they go on and, quote, worship the creation rather than the Creator. They leave God after already knowing him and go over into other religions. The next step is God gave them over to a reprobate mind. Again, we go back to the book describing Joshua after taking Jericho, when the angel wakes him up and tells him to go into the tent of someone in his camp, that they have a, quote, accursed item. He had a pagan item in his tent, and people were falling over dead in the camps, and people were dying. God told Joshua to remove the item and burn it. Take the pagan items out of your house and burn them. Why were people falling over dead in the camp? It broke that hedge of protection described in the book of Job, when Lucifer goes up before God and demands to get a legal right to Job, to take him down. He said, I can't because you have this hedge of protection about him. That's spoken of in Ecclesiastes. Where the hedge is broken, the serpent will bite. Breaking that hedge of protection is done through sin. You don't want Satan to use it to get a legal right to you. Keeping items in your home that are of pagan religions, that are offensive to God, gives the enemy a legal right to you. That's how they fell over dead in the camp in Joshua's time. The de-Christianizing of America has gone on since the 1960s, over 55 years of a gradual, steady flow of New Age false information infiltrating the United States. Television shows bringing in psychics, witches, bringing in pagan religions, everything from psychic ability to bewitched, yoga, and other TV shows that have brought in non-Christian religions, having done so in gradualism, in a seemingly mild, harmless way, to desensitize America to non-Christian religious beliefs. No cult brings anyone in the door telling them straight up what they believe in. If they did, no one would join. If they told the initiates into Wicca that they're going to be contacting spirits, conjuring up familiar spirits and sending them out to do their will, that you're not going to be able to tell the difference between a blessing or a curse that they use, and what powers they use to do so, and how much control and manipulation that they try to bring in through a spiritual means, controlling other people and circumstances through spells, no one would join their cult. If they told people out in the open, joining Scientology, that eventually they would be contacting aliens and using automatic writing, no one would join their group. What's done is through gradualism, they're taken baby step by baby step into a non-Christian religion. Nazi Germany was de-Christianized in this same very way, through bringing in the New Age movement, bringing in different pagan religions, not just that of the Norse gods, but also Hinduism and the aspect of spiritual evolution, and bringing in Darwinism, desensitizing the population to eugenics. Spiritual evolution being the teaching that one evolves into a god, the spirit comes to earth, and through a process of reincarnation, evolves up through the species called transmigration, and then evolving into a human. And here is where the racist aspect comes in, that they're teaching the darker races are lesser evolved humans, as Darwin stated in his book, In the Descent of Man. Darwin said, quote, the Caucasian race is the highest evolved race. And later on in the book, he states, quote, the Caucasian race will eventually annihilate the lesser evolved races, noting his belief in spiritual evolution. The secular humanism and teachings of Darwinism and evolution helped de-Christianize Nazi Germany and gradually bring in the teaching of spiritual evolution. Again, it was done through gradualism. In the teaching of spiritual evolution in Hinduism, the spirit continues on after evolving upward into a human, on into the stage of a God-man and then into a God. Teaching an initiate of Hinduism that they believe some of the people on earth are already a god and that they worship them as a god, giving them all their money, would stop people from being recruited into their faith. Again, they're introduced through gradualism. They're not told about Maharishi and the yogis, the Brahmins, being worshipped as a god on earth. Just as they're not being told the whole truth about spiritual evolution. Just as they were not told the whole truth about spiritual evolution in Hinduism as they began de-Christianizing Nazi Germany and bringing in this New Age religion. It took years for Nazi Germany to go from a Christian nation to that of a New Age pagan nation, burning their Bibles in the streets, accepting books by Karl Marx, and accepting that their Führer was picking men in the highest ranks due to how much psychic ability he thought them to have. As in the Christian religion, we know that psychic ability is from demons, from the book of Acts, where the town psychic has the demon come, quote, screaming out of her, that their power is demonic. How did the people in Nazi Germany go from a Christian nation to accepting this type of leadership, where they thought psychic ability stated that they were a higher evolved person in the belief of spiritual evolution, rather than that of the Christian faith, showing that psychic ability is demon possession? Many recently have brought up the parallels of pre-Nazi Germany to the stages the United States are going through now, because they are so similar. We are to come out of Babylon and not touch the, quote, unclean thing. Do not bring a, quote, accursed item into your home. If you have any pagan items in your home and you want to be Christian, burn those items. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is a jealous God. You cannot go after other gods. The worship of other gods is forbidden by the God of the Jews, that of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Touch not the unclean thing. And Deuteronomy chapter 18 describes in detail spiritism, necromancing, divination, which is tarot card reading, Ouija boards, psychic reading, psychic healings, therapeutic touch, things along those lines, along with spell casting, burning candles, as well as many stories in our Old Testament describing when Israel went, quote, a-whoring after other gods. Jeremiah was sent to the king of Israel to demand the end of allowing paganism into Israel. Elijah thought he was the only one that had not bowed a knee to the false god Baal. And God had said, I had reserved to me thousands of others. Remember, false god worship is not allowed in Christianity and Judaism. The gradual influx of paganism into the United States has caused the great falling away the Bible describes, which will precede the incoming of the Antichrist beast system, which of course will be non-Christian religious faith, globally, on a mass scale where Christians are not only persecuted, but put to death. We are not to follow the beast system, nor the false religion and the false prophet. Christianity is not a religion that one can make it up as they go along, or go by what other people say, or what's trendy. You are to go explicitly by the Scriptures. What does the Bible say about said issue? Not what does your TV say. It's not all paths lead to God. And unlike what Obama said in the mosque debate, Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes unto the Father except through me. Whereas Obama says in the mosque debate, we all worship the same God anyway, we just call him by different names. That is an Antichrist beast system lie. Jesus is the only path to God. And remember, teaching your children the Bible will help stop them from being indoctrinated into the New Age, anti-Christian, anti-Christ religious beliefs. This has been another edition of Carrie Scoggins' Political Newsletter Bible Prophecy Times Edition Update. Look for more information, Carrie Scoggins' Political Newsletter and Carrie Scoggins' Political Newsletter Bible Prophecy Times Edition, Facebook pages and bloggers.